Apps here from Dimp Digital, and welcome to Death Stranding, the review. This time we've got, there's only really two people that could have possibly done this. One was Menzies, but Menzies hasn't got a PlayStation 4. So he won't be playing Death Stranding, although it's coming to PC, I believe, next year, Q2, Q3. But Mr. Adkins, Metal Gear Solid fan, you've been installed to review Kojima's latest handiwork, and this time there ain't no one who can stop him. There's no Konami bearing down him. He's just been left to do whatever he wanted. His PlayStation have gone, have a load of money and see what you can do. Use Horizon Zero Dawn's engine and come back to us. And back. He's come back with this, Death Stranding. I
remember when this was coming out, people were like, is it good to not have him have any editors? Sometimes he needs people to go, no, come on.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we're just going to get a game full of that quiet scene in Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah. To be honest, I was one of those, I thought this is, I don't know if we can trust him without any sort of, some sort of leash on him. But in all honesty, I mean, without spoiling what we're going to talk about, I don't think it's actually that those fears didn't come true. I think it's as quirky as I thought it might be, but not extreme where I thought it might end up in terms of it being a mess, basically.
Yeah.
But Death Stranding, it's not Metal Gear Solid, but Kojima is obviously well known for his exploits in the Metal Gear Solid series. Probably my favourite game series. He's done a few other little bits and pieces. Done BT recently, which Konami have decided to shit on and get rid of. I think there's one called Snatcher that he did in the 80s, and Police Knots. I think
Zone of the Enders he did, didn't he?
Yeah,
Japanese mech game.
Yeah, exactly. But in the in reality, people are mainly going to know his work from Death Stranding. From Metal Gear Solid, not Death Stranding. This is a brand new IP that's been produced. I mean, you mentioned there were some people saying that should he be kept on a leash? What was your thoughts coming into it? Was you happy just to let him go off and do what he wanted, or was you a little bit concerned also?
I was glad. No, I'm glad he was let off the leash, because after Metal Gear Solid 5, I did always have the little worries of thinking, fucking hell, what's he going to create here?
Yeah.
Like, you could tell with Metal Gear Solid 5 he was trying to get crazy. But then by the end of that game, I was like, right, I ain't finished. So obviously he ain't getting his full potential out when he's got these leashes on him.
Yeah.
And then when that all came out, I was on Team Kojima. So I was excited, very excited that he was setting off on this new IP. And then it just went bang. And it was the mystery that really sucked me in. Just on that first trailer, I just wanted to know more, and there was so much little information that we knew, and that added just so well to the the sort of promoting of that game, promotion and the sort of build up to it was just until a couple of months now. Tokyo Game Show, maybe, was it, when we actually fully started to see what the game actually was a bit. But even when we bought the game, I still weren't 100% sure what we were getting ourselves into.
No, there's no real idea, was there?
No.
We didn't know what it was in for, but it didn't take as long as I thought it was going to take either. I thought it was going to be next year. I thought it was going to be a 2020 game. Earliest.
Oh, cool. In terms of release, definitely. I thought it was due another delay for sure. Yeah. After Last of Us 2 got delayed, I was like, well, this one ain't coming out now. But yeah, it was, and because there was rumours that it was going to be a PS5 launch title.
Right.
So I was thinking, that's confirmed now, the new console. So maybe they're going to delay it, but no, they've released it, and they're hoping for it to. I suppose this is their biggest launch this year.
We've had.
We have this just exclusives.
Deacon, what's his bloody name?
Oh yes, Days Gone.
Yes,
Yeah, so I suppose it's between those two, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they've been quiet this year, Sony. in terms of what they've had on just for exclusives. Although one of the things that came out in the release of this is that Death Stranding will come to PC.
Which was a fucking weird. They've done it about a week before the PlayStation 4 release.
Oh, yeah, that is
All those
strange.
PC boys that have bought their PS4s and pre-ordered gone, oh, cancel that.
Well, yeah, if there are people out there wanting to play it, then they can now wait for the PC version. What's even stranger is it's going to be published by 505 Games and not Sony. So my assumption was at some point Sony poured or helped fund this game to a certain extent, so which is why they would help publish it anyway, so it was a console exclusive. But 505 are now going to come along and take a little cut of the PC pie, and Sony might be left standing there going, well, been fucking left out. I want to do a rundown of what Death Stranding is, but it's difficult to do so. I think we're not going to spoil. We're going to try not to spoil anything, but I think there has to be some gameplay elements that we will have to talk about in order to portray how the game works, and also give you an idea of the progression. Because I don't think you necessarily will get that if we try and dance around it. Story-wise, I think we'll be okay with. I don't know if you want to have a crack at just trying to set up what Death Stranding. I mean, there's been a catastrophic event on Earth.
Which is called
the Death Stranding. Yeah, and that seemingly has caused a load of void outs, as they're called, which are essentially craters that appear on the Earth and wipe out anything inside it. So towns, cities, they could be part of them could be wiped out. Yep. And there's a constant connection with things called BTs, which are said to be like a link to the afterlife. So that's one of the sort of fallouts for it. Yeah. And as such, all communications have not completely, but all the advanced communications we have today are pretty much gone. Yeah. And every city that's left, every sort of little habitat that's left in America anyway, we don't know what's going on in the rest of the world because there's no. They they play up to the fact that everything's isolated now. So because there's no internet, no one really knows what's happening over in these shores. But for America anyway, everyone's kind of split up on their own. They've got their own little cities they're working. No one's working together, and it's a very isolated piece of business.
Fractured nation,
yeah. Luleo. I was waiting for the Patriots to turn up and find it all.
Could have eaten that. I always thought at the beginning of this game there was going to be some sort of link, but there might be. You never know.
We might have missed it.
Yeah,
we might have missed it. There might be a link there, but you could bet your bollocks if there's something obvious, Konami will come for blood. But we take the role of Sam Porter Bridges.
Yeah. Delivery man,
yeah. They call him a porter. Yeah. His name's not Sam Porter, is it? His name's Sam, no. I know that. And Bridges is the firm that he ends up working for and that he ends up playing through. Porter is his job title, but his actual name, as far as I remember, is Sam Strand.
That's his real name. But throughout the whole game, Kojima he must not have much of an imagination with naming people. If you go through like the characters in this game and they just are what their name is what they do. So you've got like Porter Bridges, then you've got like people called like Die Hard Man, Dead Man, and when you find out about these characters, it's just linked to what they do. Yeah, Mama.
Because she's a mama. Spoiler alert. It's like especially those sort of five. That it's crazy. He's not good with names, is what people might be saying. But Norman Reedus plays Sam Porter Bridges, and I think when we pick it up, he's like an independent courier, from what I can work out. He's kind of just doing deliveries and whatnot, and for better or for worse, he ends up getting snarled up into the firm called Bridges, and what Bridges are trying to do is reconnect the United States. They want to call it the United Cities of America. They want to reconnect everyone. And the way they do that is expanding something called the chiral network, which is basically what I think Google thinks Stadia is. They think it's, they're hoping it's going to be the chiral network, and spoiler alert on that, it ain't. But it's essentially high-speed communications that uses the new kind of links to the other side of the afterlife to transport data, and basically it's like an internet 5.0 essentially.
Yeah.
They can send data, receive data, they can run algorithms in like real time that would take days on our structure today. So the idea is that Sam is being tasked with taking these cupids, is what they're called, going to way stations, going to cities, going to ports or wherever it might be, and getting them online, getting them to join the UCA, get them to join Bridges' view of America, and expand this kind of internet 5.0.
Yeah.
Is that correct, do you reckon?
That is correct. You are essentially a Sky Fiber man going across America, hooking them up.
You are. Yeah, that is part of your role in this. Now, there's obviously, it's not as straightforward as that because it's a Kojima game. So, there's other bits and pieces that we won't go into. But that's the setup. That's why you will see in the trailers Sam wandering around, delivering things, and why you'll see people saying that's what the game is, because essentially there's a lot of that in there.
Yeah.
But I think that will leave the story. What I will want to ask you though about the story itself is, and again, I don't want to hear about any, it was really crap until the very ending when something. All I want to hear is, was you satisfied with the narrative in this game or not? Yes or no?
I was very satisfied with the narrative in this game.
Yeah.
As a whole.
Yeah, I felt like I was 2 steps behind all the time, but that's fine because I normally am with Kojima games.
Yeah,
but yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty good.
It's good. It's a very slow game. I wouldn't go into this thinking you're going to smash it out. It's not that sort of game. It's one to soak up, play. I could imagine like playing this for review, like when these people got it like a week before it was coming out, them having to smash it out as quick as they could. That's must have taken away from the experience a little bit. But it's definitely a game you need to sort of shut everything else off and just get soaked up by this world. But yeah, as a whole, I was impressed.
Yeah, no, it was good. I mean, it's the one thing I want to talk about actually, because I know I'll forget otherwise. What's in my mind before we go into sort of the gamey stuff is we've got Norman Reedus, who's the main character, Sam Porter Bridges.
Yeah,
we've also got Mads Mikkelsen.
Is here.
He's in it as well.
Exactly.
So there's a few other people that are reasonably well known. We've got the likeness for Del Toro.
Yeah,
not his voice.
Yeah, there's a few characters like that. I also just came into the studio for a day. He's gone, yeah, we'll get that. They've gone, do you want to do a couple of voice lines? I ain't got time for that.
No. Yeah, but the Norman Reedus and Mads, and probably I'd say a little bit more famous than Norman. If you're a Walking Dead fan, you'll know who Norman Reedus is. It's Daryl from.
Or there was, I think he did quite a big film. It's a bit of a cult classic called Boondock Saints.
Oh.
I've never watched it myself, but I know it's quite a cult film that he was quite on. I think that's where he might have got his Walking Dead role from, but yeah it's another one. But you'd recognise him.
Yeah, you recognise him if you see him. One thing you will definitely know by the end of this game is that you'll also know that Norman Reedus stars in a AMC program called Ride, because one of the weird things you can do in this game is when you go out to your private room, which is where you rest, recuperate, you might want to change your gear, it restores certain, items that you can get. And when you ask for Sam to take a dump, a screen will come across to block it out so you can't see him actually having a shit, and it will be an advert for AMC's Ride with Norman Reedus on a motorbike. The product placement is insane.
I was going to say, there was a massive Reddit post about this, like just having a go, saying how disgusting it was, this product.
Disgusting.
That's what I thought. It's like, because they've scanned a can of Monster in the game as well, or something.
Monster Energy's in it. I mean, this is a world that we've spoken about. It's fractured, it's broken, and yet cans of Monster are still being generated, which is concerning. I don't know who's prioritised that over food, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Monster and Ride are the two egregious ones. And I think they're done kind of tongue. Like, it's not that they're trying to. There's no selling of it at all.
No,
they are there.
Yeah, there's a lot. I wonder if they paid for it. There's a few movie quotes in this film. Obviously, Kojima being a huge movie goer. I wonder if they paid for some of them, because I know, was it the School of Rock film? I think most of their budget was spent on quotes from other films. Something like that. It's some ridiculous stat, but yeah, there's a few in here. Obviously, we won't say what ones, but try and spot them out. But I did wonder if Kojima spent a bit of cash on them.
He may well have done. What you will find is you'll get a real good insight into what Kojima enjoys in terms of music,
Yeah.
in terms of films, in terms of motorcycles. Apparently, there's all sorts of little nuggets dropped around the world that I just thought that's him wanting that in there.
Yeah.
So where I was going with Norman Reedus and Mads is there's a couple of other actresses who I'm not really that familiar with. One was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But I think Leah Seydoux.
Oh,
I've not seen
one
that
of them.
yet.
One of them's in Westworld, I believe. I've not watched Westworld, but go. I don't know which one. Can't remember. One of the lasses.
Yeah. Oh, that is another. Oh, yeah. There's another one in Leftovers.
Oh.
Margaret Qualley. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoyed
Oh,
that.
it's rich full of
That's Mama.
A-listers. Oh, is that her? Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Like, so I wanted to reel off sort of the two that we both were quite familiar with in Mads and Norman, but the ladies are there as well. What I wanted to really pull out is also we've got our very own video game Troy Baker, who's renowned for doing voiceovers in video games, not so much in films or television, and he is excellent in this. He really stands up. With those sort of big four, you could say, in terms of his performance. I was really impressed with him. And not that I've never been unimpressed with him, but it's different to see him hold his own against what you could say, I don't mean this in a bad way, more established actors or actresses.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because Nolan North, I think Sam was watching some TV show once before, and Nolan North turned up on it, and I was thinking, God, he's breaking out the voice acting, becoming a real actor. And I wondered if old Troy the boy would start to go into it. He's certainly done like a few more movie roles in terms of voice acting. He does a lot of animated films. I think he might have been in like the Lego movie or something like that.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, I did wonder if he was going to lead into acting, but like you say, he certainly does prove that he can cut it with the big boys.
Yeah, absolutely. I was impressed. In fact, I think he's one of the out of those four, he's up there, and this is one of the best performers in it.
Yeah,
which is great. I wanted to get that in there because I thought we probably won't come back to that potentially. But the performances across the board in terms of voice acting, and even like I think the mocap's pretty good for the facial animations and whatnot. They all seem to cry the same tears seem to roll down their cheeks. I don't know what that's
it's annoying me because the placement of tear ducts on eyes is more central, and it comes out the side. It's almost like a cartoon cry.
Yeah, and they cry all the time. There's always a tear rolling down someone's face. And they're just talking. Yeah, they're just chatting about the groceries, and there's tears rolling down their eyes. And you think, well, hang on, calm down.
Emotional America.
Yeah, well, it's fractured, a fractured nation. Speaking of presentation and performance. This is one for a photo mode, isn't it?
Oh, I don't get why there isn't one already.
There's loads of games that released without one, and they had it later.
Yeah.
So release it day in day.
So it can't be a hard thing to add in, surely.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so.
A lot of these games sort of add it in just after, but I don't know if they've talked about it coming. They should very do, but because, this is I did take a lot of screenshots on this. Just a lot of landscape. Like I said before it came out, this game oozed with Interstellar / Prometheus vibes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say the landscape's like.
Yeah,
so imagine traversing across places like that. And just pretty much everywhere you go, you sort of think, oh, look at that. Absolute gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lovely looking game. And obviously Norman Reedus looks spot on, and so do all the sort of characters in there. There's not a lot. It's very barren, so I guess they have to kind of make it look good. But the environments, there's a decent variety of environments as well. Lighting is pretty good. Yeah. It's definitely a good looking game. Yeah. Did you have any trouble in terms of performance, or any frame rate or crash issues, or was you all okay?
I was all okay with performance, to be honest. I didn't see many hitches at all. I completely forgot that it was 30 FPS, to be honest, only until I watched the what's it called? It's such a smooth experience. But I do sort of believe that third-person games don't have to be 60. I think a first-person shooter certainly does benefit from a a 60 FPS. I do think 60 FPS is the way, but certainly with third-person action games like this, I don't think that 30 is what they call unplayable. So as long as it's stable,
Yeah.
as one salmon might say, disgusting 30, couldn't play it. I certainly, like I say, I sort of didn't even think about it whilst I was playing it. It was only until I watched the DF and then went, oh, it's 30. And then,
what about the likes of something, without derailing the conversation, what about the likes of something like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? Do you think that should be aiming for a 60?
Yeah, maybe because of its fast-pacedness in terms of the action and combat involved, which Death Stranding is not.
No, it's not a fast-paced game.
No way would you class this as a fast-paced action game. It's nothing like Metal Gear Rising, nothing like
certainly not
Star Wars. And playing the 2 as it came out the week after, it was a strange sort of way to play, to go from playing the chilled calmness of Death Stranding to the fast-paced action of Star Wars Fallen Order.
Yeah, I got that as well. I got them both on release. Played obviously Death Stranding for the first week. Jedi Fallen Order popped along. I put that in, and I played it for that weekend. And I thought, right, I think Kojima's had his time here. He might have to take a back seat. Yeah, and that then the week after flipped, and Jedi Fallen Order has been sort of left in the dust whilst I got really sucked into Death Stranding for whatever reason. It is a very chilled out game.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of a mix between. It's got a little bit of a No Man's Sky aspect to it.
Yeah, I thought that.
I don't know what it is, but there's something about, obviously that game released, I enjoyed it, and it had people didn't like it because there was nothing to do and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And this has that. It has that same kind of port, and I've played that for hours. I got really sucked into that at one point. Disgraceful amounts of time spent into that, trying to get to that centre of the universe.
Oh yeah.
Also, I found that as I built up my options in terms of travelling, I had a bit of a Euro Truck Simulator vibe going on, or an American Truck Simulator, that's what people are playing now.
Yeah,
sort of going from point to point and dropping bits and pieces, because that's what that game is. You drive a lorry around and you drop shit off and then drive back. And I never thought that blend would suck me in, but it did.
Yeah, it did. It is incredible. It is, as much as like I know Kojima stressed that this is his new genre of game, the Strand gaming. And when you are playing it, you're sort of thinking, what the fuck's he talking about? He's not making a genre. And it's just unlike anything I've ever played. I just can't... when someone says to me, would I recommend it to someone? Yeah. It's not a game that you can like open-heartedly recommend to just an average gamer, because they'll be like, all right, what's it like then? I'd be like, well, it's so unique. And yeah, it just definitely sits on its own. But yeah, with the two closest resemblance, I've never played the Truck Simulator game, but certainly I had a No Man's Sky vibes whilst I was playing it.
Yeah, it is unique, and for better or for worse, like if you're used to conventional, like playing Jedi Fallen Order, and then this is like chalk and cheese. Like you've got Jedi Fallen Order, which uses a lot of conventional ideas that have been used time and time again, does them all very well, just seems to stutter on performance, really. And then you've got this, which doesn't really follow many of the conventions that have been created, kind of does its own thing, and will undoubtedly turn people off. No doubt about that. But I think everyone should try it.
Yeah,
or at least play it just to like chapter 4 or something like that. And then if you want to put it down and not finish it, I don't think I'd implore anyone to definitely go ahead and finish it if you don't want to. But you won't. I don't think you'll hate it.
No,
potentially.
It's so weird because like you'd say. You say like, oh, do you think the average gamer would like it?
Yeah.
There's someone who doesn't play a lot of games. I know someone like Pete, maybe.
Oh yeah.
I could never see him playing this type of game.
No,
but then
not.
Someone that I'd call like an elite gamer, someone that's playing games all the time, like a Hall, maybe even a biff. He plays a lot of different types of games. I still don't think I could recommend it because I just wouldn't be sure that they would be on board, because it's not unlike it needs like a demo for you to try before you buy. You sort of commit. I mean, if you're a fan of Kojima, it definitely helps. But yeah, just going into this, if you could try before you buy,
have a go at it.
Yeah, but it's definitely one of those that people should try just to see if they enjoy this experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking, I was talking to Paper the other week. I saw him at a wedding, and it was, I think maybe it was the week of when Death Stranding came out. I can't remember now. Maybe I played a little bit of it. Whenever it was, I played it.
Yeah.
And I thought he might like this for some reason, just because.
He likes them indies that can be like a bit like this, can't they? That sort of slow pace.
Exactly. Because it doesn't, make you playing like a typical game. It kind of does, but not like when you're actually moment to moment.
No,
it's something a bit different. You can just sort of get lost doing your own thing. I did say that to him, but I was pretty drunk, so probably didn't take it seriously.
Nah. It's quite a weird game in terms of that, because it's quite a long game to get from start to finish.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you're making these deliveries as such, you could turn the game into something where you could literally pick up, do a couple of deliveries, and put it back down again.
Yeah, that's what I did. I certainly did that, and I even spent, I think, about 30 to 40% of the time I spent in the game, which is now clocking out at 80 hours. So that's sort of. But that 40%, I reckon I spent not doing the main campaign.
Yeah.
When you get to, there's a couple of regions in the game. Let's say, technically, there's a couple of regions in the game, and one is the big one, which is the second region. So that's where you spend the bulk of your time.
Yeah.
Central region, it's called, or something like that. When you get to there, you can build roads.
Yeah.
Which means that you can travel from A to B much easier than having to either walk over that shit, so you can walk over the road, it's nice and smooth, or if you've got a vehicle, because yes, there are vehicles in the game that you can fabricate and make, it will help you there. So I spent loads of time building every single road that I could, because you can't build the road wherever you want. You can't make your own sort of path. There's a set sort of, they're called auto pavers that you go to, you input the materials and it builds the road, and there's a certain sort of route that you can take. But I did every single one of those, and I was pleased when I did that. And that had nothing I didn't have to do that.
No, that's completely optional. You can do, I don't think I did many at all, to be honest. Not the roads. I've done a few to start with.
Yeah.
When you sort of learn the tutorials of it and that, but I didn't do that. So that's a complete option. It's almost a bit like Fallout, where you can sort of go off and do what you want. You're limited as to what you can do, compared to the Fallout wandering as such. But certainly the world is so expansive and huge that you could, like you say, you can just get lost in hours and hours of road building. So you're not only are you a postal delivery man, you also become highway maintenance.
I put on many different hats during this game. At one point, I was delivering someone's fucking pizza, so you can put pizza delivery boy in there if you want to. There's all sorts being delivered.
Incredible.
How would you describe the structure of the game, whether it's linear and how you progress?
Would compare the structure and the segment of gameplay as like taking crack cocaine. It is so addictive, as sort of, when you talk, when you bear it down to bones and you explain it to someone, it's a delivery. You're a delivery man going from point A to point B. People are like, a lot of people said this game sounds boring.
Yeah,
and you sort of think, well, I suppose it is a little bit in terms of like actual what you're doing compared to, fast-paced action games or whatever. But that little small segment of like the gameplay loop, it is so addictive. I remember one night I did exactly the same as you. Played this for a week, went to Star Wars. I came back to this thinking, right, I'm just going to do a couple of deliveries just so I can get to a mental checkpoint in my head and go, right, that's it, well, continue. I played it for about an hour, and then I found myself, I was on it for like 6 hours straight after that. I just couldn't get off it. I just didn't want to turn it off. It's so addictive.
Yeah, and there was a night when I text you at 4:30 in the morning. Just come off. I've not played a game like that in a long time.
I've not seen you online. Literally in the morning, all day, all night, and then in the morning again.
Yeah, it was a level of addiction, and I don't know what caused that because I don't want to be a postman. I don't think. Well, maybe I do.
That is your new lease of life.
Yeah. Old Keith was a postman in his former days. Maybe that's
he?
Yeah, he was for a bit.
Get him on Death Stranding. He'd be loving it, living back the glory days.
I feel fancy all the tripping over and dropping shit.
Oh, no, true.
But so you essentially get packages, don't you, from a particular, like a way station, or it might be a distribution centre, and it'll say, now take this to a city here, and it might be 2,000 metres away.
Yeah.
And initially, it's daunting, isn't it? Because you're given all these packages, and each package has a certain weight and a certain size.
Yep.
You can only carry a certain amount of luggage, or you can carry an insane amount of cargo. Really, he balances things like 12 deep on his back.
Yeah,
there's boxes that, like,
it's hilarious to see because when you play games like action games or whatever, and you have like this massive inventory full of guns.
Yeah,
imagine if it's I could see this and see everything he was carrying.
Yeah.
This is what the game. This is what it would look like.
It is, yeah, you're right. Because a lot of games like GTA, he just pulls out a rocket launcher from his back pocket and you fire that. Yeah. Everything you have, every bit of inventory, takes up room on Sam's suit or on his backpack.
Yeah,
and you can carry more than what you probably could in real life. But there's certain reasons for that. There's certain equipment that helps you with that.
Yeah,
and if you want to take out a weapon, for example, you've got to weigh that up of whether you want a weapon or two ladders. Because you think, I need to get from A to B. If I want to go the normal path, I might run into trouble. There might be BTs, which are like the kind of the afterlife beings that inhabit in the world that you got to stealth around, although you can take them down also. Or you might run into mules, which are humans who, it's going to sound ridiculous when I say it, are addicted to cargo and delivering. They basically... they basically want to nick everything off you. If you walk into their territory, they'll ping you and come at you. So if you haven't got a weapon, you've got to go fisticuffs, or you can, as we found hilarious, you can hit them around the head with the cargo and fucking KO the bastards. But
I remember when I first heard it, someone said the enemies in the game, there's mules. I was like, what? What
he thought actual mules.
Yeah, like a fucking donkey's going to be chasing after me. Excellent.
I've got to say on that front, I was a tad disappointed there wasn't any sort of wildlife.
Yeah.
That is funny. Do you know what I mean? It would be nice just to see really like low percentage or low, like it's certain like one deer throughout the whole game. But
mind you, there is a reason why they probably wouldn't exist.
Oh yeah, it's the event that's taken place before this is an absolute stinker for everyone involved. So it's all explained. I would like to have just seen one animal.
Yeah, but then I get the ongoing, which is almost like a game mechanic as well, that would eradicate any animal life.
Yeah,
and that would be the fucking annoying rain.
Yes, they call Timefall, but essentially what it does, what it lands on, it ages it. One drop will make your hair go grey. Essentially, is what they set that up in the very beginning. Like a little drop goes on Sam's hair, and that little patch goes a tiny bit grey.
Yeah.
So it's essentially acid rain. That's why in my head, I was like, right, okay, it basically decomposes or breaks down things.
Yeah.
So it breaks down your cargo.
Yep.
So if you're out in this shit rain too long, it'll break down your cargo. It'll break down your vehicles because it'll age that.
Yep.
And it's also usually a hot spot for these BTs, these other earthly or afterlife beings that will inhabit that area. And if you get caught by them, they can kill you. They can kill you. And if you die when you are killed by them, you cause a void out, which is what we spoke about earlier, these craters. And that part of the map will then be wiped out with a big crater there, and that will stay there for the whole game. Because as an experiment, it wasn't an experiment. I didn't think I was going to die, but I was being much more gung ho because I thought there's no real punishment.
No.
And there was. It blew up like a big crater in that part of the map, and I couldn't go through it. I had to go around it after that. And I was like, that's a pain in the arse now. I was like, okay, I've got to be a bit more careful. The Timefall is basically what degrades your equipment and your structures and your weapons and stuff. And one thing I wanted to ask, one thing that doesn't make sense to me, is that when the rain comes, he puts his hood up.
Yeah.
Just protect him so he doesn't get the rain, the Timefall in his head, so it doesn't age him.
Yeah.
But you don't wear a mask, and you're bombing around on a motorcycle.
That is very true.
And there's Timefall surely splashing in his face.
Yeah. He should look as old as a goat.
He should, but he doesn't. He looks like Daryl of The Walking Dead season 10 or whatever.
He does.
He looks younger, actually.
Yeah, he probably does look younger.
He's gone backwards. But yeah, did you? Because I know you don't like weapons degrading and things like that, conditioning things. Did this get on your nerves a bit with the Timefall and it breaking down equipment? Because you can. Another thing is you can build equipment and weapons, and we've mentioned vehicles.
Yeah,
but you can build structures as well, like bridges and little ladders or other bits and pieces to help you.
Climbing anchors. Yeah,
climbing anchors, they're my favourite. Although not when it's just 10 metres from getting to the bottom of the ledge.
I swear people do that on purpose just to fuck everyone off.
Yeah, I dismantle those when I see them.
Yeah.
But all that, if it's in a heavy Timefall area, they will eventually break down. You either go and repair it or you have to replace them. But did that get on your nerves a bit?
So it did. It did, because I do hate that sort of thing in games, weapon degradation, and it is just a massive ball ache. You see it coming, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, here we go. You do get that sense of what Sam would be feeling. But I understand, take that away from the game, and boy, oh boy, would it be an easy game.
Oh, yeah.
So it is that sort of, it's almost like an enemy in which this game has very few of. Yeah. It sort of becomes an enemy in itself. So it wasn't as bad as the weapon degradation for Breath of the Wild or something. Yeah, that really got my fucking tits. You couldn't really repair much in that game. I don't think you could you?
Fucking repair nothing.
No, exactly. Whereas with this, you do gain something later that you can sort of help to repair. The stuff that does get degraded, and it wasn't as bad. I wasn't finding myself having my cargo completely ruined.
No,
my weapon being so bad.
Very rarely, because most of the cargo that you're carrying has a container sort of bar that will degrade from Timefall if you fall over, and then the actual cargo itself will have a damage icon. And what happens is the Timefall degrades the container level, I guess. It just makes it more susceptible to taking damage if you fall over or drop it and things like that.
Yeah.
And like you said, you can get repair sprays, and there's other ways that you can repair your containers as well. So you're not completely left with your cock in your hand. You can counteract that. But that plays into one of my favourite things about this is that having to go through a heavily time-falled area, on a big walk. It didn't matter if that was a complaint or something that was going to happen or not. It had every time I set out, there was a sense of adventure. How big or how small it was you just got to have a little think before you set out and make sure you've got the tools, because I think in general the game's pretty easy, in terms of the enemies. Yeah. I don't think either of us had any trouble with the enemies. In fact, it's probably I'm not even going to say it's a bit too easy, because had it been more difficult,
I think a friend of mine who played it, Dan Clark, he played it on hard.
Yeah.
A few times he mentioned that the enemies were a lot harder. Yeah. Some of the boss battles that you do encounter as well.
Yeah.
They are a bit harder. But then when I was looking at the trophy list and was reading through the guide, it actually states in there that the deliveries, there is no difficulty change from very easy to hard.
No, yeah.
So there's no difference in the core gameplay. It's just the enemies that are harder.
Yeah.
But overall, I would say it's a quite an easy game. There was a time that I sort of thought, oh Christ, how am I going? You get that sense of dread and that sense of what would you say earlier, when you I forgot the bloody word. When you've got a task coming up and you're like, oh, for God's sake.
Did I?
You said the word earlier, it's gone. Oh, it'll come back to me. But you get that sort of dread when you're like, oh, I've got to go all the way to there, and I fucking know there's rain that's going to come, and you get that, which is good. But but overall, I would say it's quite an easy game, which is more accessible to people. You know, people that don't like hard games. It's a good one for them to play as well.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say was, it is easy.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's too easy.
No.
And the reason why I say that is because I would have got really annoyed with it if the enemy encounters were too hard.
Yeah.
Or not balanced right, because you'd have to repeat things over and over. And it would, because the main part of the game is how do you get from A to B?
Yeah.
The bit with the mules and the BTs, yes, they're there as obstacles, but you know it's about you getting from A to B. And if you kept on getting put down by enemies or things, I think
about 70% into your adventure, and then go right back to the beginning again.
Yeah, exactly. Or it fucks your cargo up, and you got to go and get it refabricated.
Exactly. That's the thing, because there is no. You wouldn't. It's not like a set level, so you wouldn't go back to the position to the starting point again. You'd literally have to walk all that way back and then back again.
Yeah, I mean, so I think they did the right thing. Maybe they played it too safe, but I think in doing that, it meant that the frustration levels were pretty low.
Yeah.
Because the main challenge was traversing the environment and figuring out how you're going to get there.
Yeah.
As far as I could see, there was no microtransactions. I don't think there was.
No.
So we haven't got to worry about any of that.
I did wonder if there might be subtle hints with the customization and stuff. When I saw the pre-order bonus, I was like, cool, what are we going to get here? And we just got the content that you got in-game, but gold. I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Because I think there was like an in-game currency in
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear, wasn't there?
There was.
Cheeky thing. So he's obviously got the tendency. Maybe that was Konami's thing. So, but he knows the backlash, and it's been his first game since going solo.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Didn't want to piss off those puppies. So no, there's no sign of that. I say it's strictly single player.
Well, this is this is the main thing. It's like it's an asymmetric kind of multiplayer game. Really, you will not see me or Adkins running around in your world. I'm afraid. The best you can do, you can call out.
No Man's Sky originally, the same thing.
Yeah, it's very similar to that. I mean, you can actually call out to people, and I don't know whether, and sometimes it flashes up with a player name. I don't know if it means they're there at that point in their server or what that means. And I
saw you on a video on YouTube that if you can call out to another person's structure and it will call back to you. I don't know if they get called in their game or not. Okay. But if you shout at a structure, it will talk back to you. But it'd be interesting to see if you get it back from the other side.
Yeah, because what I was thinking, maybe we should go to the same place and just see. Because what it is an asymmetrical game. So I was thinking, I wonder if I'm going to run into like Adkins' structure, because the way it works is that every time you drop down a structure, or you drop down a bridge, or you drop down a rope or a ladder or whatever, cargo even, it will go into other people's worlds. So when Adkins comes and plays, he might come across my ladder, for example, that I've put down. Yeah. And he might think, oh fuck, I haven't got a ladder, but then he walks up round the corner and then I've put one there because I was there earlier, and obviously it's me, I thought ahead. And I did that. I can imagine Adkins just coming out with nothing but fucking guns and then just rely on everyone else's goodwill to put things down. But I love that part of the game. I really, really love the fact that you put stuff down, not just for your own selfish reasons, although most of the time it is, but you leave it there and other people will come along behind you and most likely use that. And the reason you know they're going to use it is because each time someone walks over a structure of yours, uses a bridge, uses a ladder, likes or interacts with one of your items that you've put down, you get a little, it's not overbearing, it doesn't come up on your face and say well done, just a little note pops up on the bottom left, little green writing saying so and so has just used your ladder. Yep. And you think, I've just helped someone out there.
It's funny because when Kojima was first announcing this game and he kept
talking shit,
and everyone was like, what is he talking about? And he's going, look, the main game point of this game is about connection. And you're sitting there thinking, what the fuck's he talking about, crazy hippie? And then, like you say, you're spending hours and hours connecting people around the world. and you're getting likes for it on some sort of social media-esque thing.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It is insane because there's that addiction comes back, and it is rewarding. You sort of just feel like you have helped other people.
Yeah, there's emails in the game, as of every game, that you can read a bit of backstory and stuff. And there's an email you get from one chap, and he talks about sort of social media as we use it now, saying that people started getting addicted to the likes and whatnot, which is why they kind of introduced it into the chiral network as well, because it gave people a sense of I don't know, a positive feeling. But I was what I liked about it, because obviously it doesn't drop every single item you put down into other people's games, otherwise the whole world would be cluttered. There must be I'm really interested to find out how the tech works for this.
Yeah,
is it just servers of like 32 people?
Well, that's what I want.
Share a world.
Because I remember when the reviews copy came out, and I was listening to a certain YouTube company that played the game, and they were based in San Francisco, and they were saying that they were getting other companies that had got the game as well, and they were saying they were actually finding their friends' structures. So I was thinking, right, with me and you, we both live in Wakering, surely we're going to be on the same server.
Yeah.
But alas, I have not seen any of your structures, nor you'll see mine. Probably
I haven't
dropped any, but I selfishly running out with just guns and going, there'll be a ladder around this corner, you watch.
And that's the thing, normally there is. I think in a good... I think it was quite well balanced, though, because there were certainly times when I was thinking, fuck, I'm a bit stuffed here, and then I'd pump out a little scan, and I'd see there's an online... It'd come up in green, like an online ladder or an online rope, and I think, oh, thank fuck for that. But there are other times when it wouldn't, and I had to have bought the stuff along with me. I think it does a good job of balancing it, sort of giving you that feeling of, wow, they're like a little guardian angel, just that spin there, that's really helpful, that one item there. But then also, you've got to rely on yourself to pull your finger out your arse sometimes. Yeah. It'll make your life easier if you just bring along some of the tools as well.
Definitely. I got stuck up once. I was like, I haven't used a ladder or a anchor for a little while. I'll be all right on this one. I got to the top of a mountain. I was like, fuck, I ain't getting down from here. So I had to go all the way around again.
Yeah. The climbing anchor, which is the rope, basically, I used a lot. Because I would climb up to the top of things and think, I can't get back down now.
No.
I'm going to have to stick this anchor down, and at least I can get halfway down or whatnot. But I really did love the online aspect of this, because it's so subtle in a way. It's not there in your face all the time, and it's not fucking Call of Duty. It's not Battle Royale. It's just like there's people playing this game, putting down structures where they think it's going to be useful. There's a couple of trolls there.
Yeah.
I mean, I jumped off one structure as I went onto it, and I fell down the cliff afterwards. So I don't know if they'd done it on purpose or I jumped off at the wrong point or whatever. But there's a couple of little small trolly things perhaps people have done, putting ladders up that overhang areas so when you fall off you fall. But generally, it felt like 98% of the structures or the ladders or whatever it was put down were helpful.
Yeah.
In
I
some
like
way
signs as well. You can put down signs.
So
then, and you go into the sort of into your portal bases and stuff, and there'll be like no pissing signs.
Yeah. But you could put things down like, if there's a BT area.
Yeah. They came in very handy.
Yeah, the people would put down a sign for that, so you'd think, right, I know there's going to be BTs around here, or maybe I'll slow down, or whatever I'm doing, I'll just be a bit more careful, and then you can leave yourself a sign. Like I found a little route round that you could walk round, so I put a little sign saying this way.
Yeah.
About 60 people used it, and I thought, well,
go.
I've helped someone.
Yeah, it is. It is incredible when you realise you are actually connecting with other people and helping everyone. There's a real positive vibe about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of the ethos of the game is obviously you're trying to rebuild America and connect people, and whilst you're doing that, you're inadvertently or on purpose, helping online players. Their whatever you drop and leave could potentially sharpen someone's game, and you'll get feedback as to how many people started using that.
Yeah.
You sent me on the fucking goose chase, unfortunately.
Made up my own.
He made up his own trophy. He said there's a trophy for one of your structures getting 5,000 likes.
I don't know how I came up. It must be there's a couple. I think there's one for a total of 50,000.
50k, there's one for that.
And then there's one for about, is it 2,401?
Something like that.
Something like that. But somehow I got 5,000 likes. And both of us, I remember you texted me saying, have you got it yet? And I was like, I'm so close.
Oh, did you have a structure that was nearly 5,000?
Yeah, I think it was on like 4,700 or something. I was like, I've nearly got it. I didn't look back once you messaged me and said, I've got one, and it's not done, it's nothing's popped. And then I went into the thing and looked and went, oh no, where the hell? I just made that up. But it added a new sort of challenge to the game. There's both us trying to get this 5k likes.
Yeah. Yeah, so you get likes or use structures when people use it, or you can add more likes when you stand near stuff and whatnot. And that kind of helps you level up in certain areas that you can.
Thing we haven't discussed, which is the gameplay mechanic. Well, I didn't get to see what you thought of, was the balancing mechanics. So when you're not traversing through using vehicles or anything else, how is it? Would you explain it? It's the buttons, I suppose.
It's so basically it's you put cargo on your back. If you stack it high, Sam will have hard time keeping his balance. He'll stumble, trip, and then eventually he'll fall over. And when you fall over, all your cargo comes off, smashes into the floor, and damages it. And part of the deal is you've got to get the cargo there in good condition. And don't turn it up as a piece of shit. So you're constantly battling this. And there's several ways you can do that. One, don't stack your fucking boxes so high like I kept doing. Like, it makes it so much harder with the boxes swaying left to right. But you've got the L2 and R2, which you can use to grip your backpack and keep your balance.
Yeah. So at the trade-off of going slower.
And in some areas it uses a bit more stamina as well.
Yeah.
So you've got like a little stamina meter for things like if you're climbing up stuff or sprinting and bits and pieces like that. But yeah, that's the main sort of thing you'll be wrestling with, especially in the early goings, is getting from A to B on foot and having no other fallback other than having to carry it. So you have to get used to climbing up and down things with all this shit on your back and being a bit more strategic about how you go about things. Like, do you take the easy route through all the BTs?
Yeah.
So you've got to navigate those and run the risk of setting that off, and that's a shit show and that all kicks off. You don't want to do that.
No.
Or do you try and just take the direct route over the mountain and hope that you can get yourself up there and down without breaking your neck?
Yeah.
And it's depending on where you're starting from and where you're going, you'll have a different answer each time.
Yeah. It's also a good mechanic that you could also do is because of that nagging bloody Timefall as well. You can actually arrange your cargo how you like. Yes. So you can put the important stuff in between two shitters, maybe if you've got like a ladder or something which you don't mind being degraded. You can put that at the top and then have your special thing there. But like I say, pro tip to anyone playing this game: just always use that auto configuration.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Like people thinking, "What I've got to arrange my cargo."
Yeah,
you put it all on your back or wherever you want, and then you hit triangle, and it'll automatically arrange the best way to do it. That was a godsend.
That was.
Yeah, without that would have been a pain in the backside. But I mean, it's. You're constantly managing Sam's balance when you're on foot, trying to,
There is a few things you've got to manage, haven't you, really? So you've got you got your balance, and you've got your stamina, your shoes as well.
Your shoes wear down.
You can get your shoes have like a sort of a bar that depletes, and then when that gets to the bottom, then you can I don't know what actually how your feet, all your toenails, you can pull off, and it's horrible. Some of the stuff.
If your shoes run down, you haven't got any footwear.
Oh, then it just completely goes. So you're running around bare feet, are you?
Yeah, and then at that point, you can start losing health.
Right, of course.
Or blood, as they call it in this.
Yeah,
health is basically blood.
Yeah.
So that's always. Another pro tip: always have at least one spare set of boots on your clip.
You do have a boot clip, attached to your suit, so there's no excuse, really.
No excuse. You can put 2 boots on that as well, so you should be free at all time. 1 on your feet, 2 on the clip, and then you'll be fine. But the thing is, and this is where I think, in terms of what it does really well, is the sense of progression is really good.
Yeah.
For something that's really simple, A to B, deliver the package. Either deliver it in a set time period. That's one of the requests for some certain cargo ones. So you might have half an hour to get there, and that's a requirement. Then there's ones.
I normally hate stuff like that as well. Like on GTA missions where you'll be bumbling through, loving life, and then all of a sudden it'll be like, right, do this next mission in 5 minutes. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
I normally go, but the time limits are pretty generous in this game. But they do still give you that certain sense of dread, and you're like, oh, okay. But
those are the ones where I was like, I'm not going to risk going for the difficulty. I'm just going to try and gun straight over the mountain and whatnot.
Yeah.
So you can do those. There's extra like fragile items that you might come into contact with. Some of which that you have to always hold in your hand, so you can't just put it on your back.
No.
And you have to use your hand. And what that means you can't do, it means you can't use certain items. It means you can't climb up ladders. It means you can't climb up, bits of mountain as easy. It makes everything just that bit harder having one thing in your hand. And you can't store it in any other way because it's got to be kept upright or whatever the excuse is for the cargo. And then you've got things like that are massive, great big, like you get like 12 boxes to take. And you think, well, I've got to just take that and nothing else. And it's a pain in the arse. But what happens is the game does a really good job. Those are sort of like the main ones. But the game does a really good job of letting you progress and give you more options to deliver the packages.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't got to walk everywhere. We've mentioned there's vehicles. There's other means of transport. And I think I spent a lot of time in an area where that it kind of unlocks as you go through the story. But I spent a lot of time not having that. So when I started getting more of stuff that was making my life easier and quicker and safer, I've really appreciated it.
Yeah.
Like the progression from coming with, like, you can't even build spare boots to start with.
No.
You've got one set of boots. So if they run out before you get to the point where you can fabricate new boots, you're going to have that problem. You're going to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
That was like my first godsend because I was on like red. I was running out of boots and I was like, oh my God. And then the next mission, it was like, oh, we've got you some boots. And I was like, thank fuck for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, with each little piece of the game, you do feel that sort of sense of progression, don't you? Just like, I needed that so bad.
Yeah, and it changes how you play completely.
Yeah.
Like, we've mentioned, people are probably going, what are they talking about? They're delivering packages. It's like, yeah, but you can deliver them in a number of ways. You could deliver it on foot if you wanted.
Yeah.
It'll take you all year and all of next year, I think, if you just did that. But you can do that. But there's other options for you to deliver it. But you've still got to put the groundwork in either to fabricate the items or fabricate the structures or set them up in a certain way so that it is useful to you and other players. And you didn't use the trucks too much, did you?
No,
As far as what I discussed. I used the trucks a shitload because what the trucks do is they're slow and they've got battery life that you've got to kind of maintain and make sure there's enough generators that other players, thank you very much, have been putting down. I didn't put hardly any of those down. But what it lets you do is load on, instead of say 10 bits of cargo, 50 bits of cargo. So if you want to do a massive haul of loads, I would load them all into a truck and then do it in one big hit. And it might take a little bit longer, but I thought in the long run, I'm doing 8 orders here rather than just one on my feet.
Yeah.
And it's little things like that. Depending on what the job is, depending on what the orders are, depending on what you want to do, you can manage it in a number of different ways.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed experimenting with them and kind of finding my own way through and what works best for me in certain scenarios, certain like areas I would only ever use X way to transport there, whereas others I might just use the roads that I built because I was only going down the roads, and that was really useful for the trucks.
Yeah.
Like I could just drive to a lot of the places on the roads. But for something that is quite straightforward, I was really impressed about how it kept me engaged with progression and unlocking new items and weapons and structures to make me want to use them and eventually just making your life easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
The easy life is what I'm after.
And it is, once you get them roads, you're like, oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
You open up. They should have, on the soundtrack, they should have had, I'm on the road again.
I'll tell you what, the soundtrack is excellent.
It is.
The original score and the licensed stuff they've got that you can listen to in your private room.
Yeah.
My main complaint, and I'm pretty sure this is a valid complaint, unless I've completely missed it, why the hell can't you fabricate an MP3 player?
Yeah,
and listen to the music whilst you're walking around? Because sometimes the music will automatically play during like a cinematic moment when you're walking. Say you're just about to get to your destination, it'll kick in with a new song, and you think, "Oh, this is quality."
Yeah.
But when you're sort of out and about doing, odds and sods, I'd love to just have a little MP3 player, and I could have that playing on loop for that soundtrack because it's so good.
Yeah, there is an in-game music player, isn't there? But I don't know if it continues over to gameplay.
Yeah, you
think
end up
just
delivering a few of those, but I don't think you can fabricate. I never found a way to do it.
No.
If you can, I've really hurt myself.
Yeah, I
using
don't
that,
think you can, but yeah, the score is so good, and yeah, the license. I didn't really know many of the bands, and Kojima's absolutely pulled out some worlds. There's a band called Low Roar.
Low Raw, never heard of you.
Nah,
Excellent.
apparently they're like a Swedish Joy Division. People call them, but they just fit the tone and the ambiance of the game so well.
Yeah.
And when them songs kick in, and it's normally when there's like an epic backdrop, and it's almost like a sort of when the song came on like that, I sort of felt relieved because you knew that there wasn't going to be some sort of like BT waiting around the corner. It made you think, right, I'm on this adventure now. I can relax a little bit, and then 100 yards down the road, you're like, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I actually tripped over when one of those songs come on. I took my foot off the gas. Yeah, it's a bit of a steep hill, and I didn't hold the grip buttons, and he lost his footing, and I was like, fucking hell! About 40% damage on it. I was really pissed off. It was a long old haul.
Talking of falling over, we haven't discussed another mechanic of the game. One certain BB.
Oh yeah, BB, Bridge Baby.
Another fucking meter you got to keep watching.
Yeah, so this is the little fella you would have seen maybe that's in the little, what do they call those fucking things? Like a little,
like a
he's in a container.
Container, basically, yeah, like a sort of fucking, God knows what you'd call it. Yeah, container.
No.
Tank.
A little tank that's keeping him. I guess it's keeping him alive. It's a baby in there, but this BB baby has a very useful ability in that he is able to detect BTs for you.
Yeah.
So they're actually invisible to the like any normal human traversing these wilderness without a BB will struggle.
Yeah.
Because you can't see them. Whereas Sam has got what they call Doom's ability.
Yeah.
Which lets him sense them, but I think BB allows you to physically see their form, which means when you're going through those areas, you can use that to, avoid them or attack them or do whatever you want to do to them. And he's a little bit of a needy fucker, though.
Oh, he is. He is. There was one night when I was playing, and my wife was sat next to me, and she had our actual baby. And she was crying and trying to sort her out and that.
I thought that your wife was.
No, she was. She was. And she was that. And then there was me, and I just tripped over, and BB started crying. And there was me soothing him, pressing square, and my wife just looked at me as if to say, "You fucking idiot." I was like paying more attention to BB than my actual child.
Yeah,
it was hilarious.
So BB has a little bar that
it's like a stress bar, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a stress bar, and it goes down as if you trip over, if you encounter BTs and set them off, and all that sort of stuff can stress him out, and the bar will reduce as that goes on. And if it reduces completely, you no longer have the ability to use BB sense to see the BTs. And that makes things fucking impossible in those areas because you can't for love nor money see what's happening or what's going to go on. You have to just try and get through it. Yeah. So you've got to make sure BB's a happy little fella, and you can do that, as you mentioned. You can soothe him by rocking him with the controller. Yeah,
it's Kojima again with his Metal Gear Solid antics of plugging in controllers and reading memory cards. You're now rocking babies with your controller.
Do you know what I think? When I was playing this, I think they updated it because when I first started doing that, I didn't feel like I was doing it that hard, but Sam was shaking him.
Oh, really?
It looked like he was fucking.
I'm surprised. Yeah, there should have been a mechanic in there where if you could have if you shaked it too hard, you could have made him get stressed out again.
Well, what I noticed was when I was doing that and he was shaking him, his bar wouldn't increase.
Oh, right. Oh, so it does work like that.
It does, yeah, and I thought, that's a bit weird. I didn't know if I was doing it right. Then a little patch went in as I was playing it, and the text changed. It said, soothe BB, and then it said, gently rock your controller. I was like, okay. So I did it lightly, and then he rocked him, and then BB would, his bar would increase, and he'd blow little thumbs up or whatever, and hearts and stuff.
Dishing out likes for you as well.
Yeah, he does. He was dishing out likes, a little bastard. But, so if you shake it too hard, he won't recover and he won't get better. So I had to learn that. But I thought it was one of those throwaway mechanics. I was just doing it to to get it done, but you actually had to do it quite smoothly.
Yeah, and his cries will come out of that controller as well, and it's fucking screechy.
Well, I had earphones on for the first few sessions, so I didn't barely hear him, and then when I didn't wear them once, I was like, "What the fuck's that?"
Yeah, that is one thing. Another pro tip to any players playing this, especially if you're playing on the PS4 Pro, use fucking headphones. That PS4 turns into rocket mode on this game. The amount of times I've been watching the cutscenes and playing the game, and just in the background, my PS4 will just go. Think, oh fuck, the jet engine's off again.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I wanted to speak about the combat.
Yep.
And I'm not going into detail at the boss battles, but
no,
Kojima's known for epic boss battles, so it only seems fair that that's covered off in just a general term. But in terms of combat, you've got sort of melee combat and shooting grenades and other bits and pieces you can use.
Yeah.
I think when we spoke about the enemies being easy and it being a relatively easy game, I think that shines through in the combat as well. It felt pretty simplistic to me.
Yeah.
You get quite a few tools that you can play around with.
Yeah.
You know, you fabricate new stuff and little ideas and whatnot, but you can literally, we'll talk about the mules, the guys, the humans that steal your cargo if you go in the territory.
Yeah.
You can run into there and just punch everyone and knock them all out, and you won't die. You won't be any risk of dying as long as you're not completely reckless.
Yeah. And
you don't need to do anything other than that, really. No. So, what did you think on the combat side of things?
Yeah, it was pretty easy. I don't know if maybe I was a bit reckless. I did sort of a couple of times run into the camps I'm running in and sort of got inundated when there was sort of quite a few. They sort of got me by numbers.
Yeah, they turn up on lorries sometimes. Yeah, that can be a bit tricky.
Sort of like ran into dead ends and was sort of like, oh fuck, now I've got 5 of them maybe. But yeah, to be honest, I don't think I died at all. No, I think I may have fed off a mountain once or something and died. But in terms of actually combat, I don't think I ever died playing the game. So yeah, like you say, you could just use it, just your fisticuffs. It felt pretty good. I wouldn't say it's the strongest part of the game at all. No. The combat, it's not really a combat focus. You know, you could literally go if you played correct, like stealthily enough, or not. It's not a stealth game. If you played a certain way, you could probably avoid combat altogether.
Oh yeah, I think you can.
Yeah, you wouldn't even need to. No. So. Yeah, but I think that what was there, like you say, it starts off with just your fisticuffs, and then as you progress the game, you unlock certain things that you can help you to dispatch them, and then the things that you do unlock, they make it even easier for you, and you literally can just sort of go in, mow them all down, and clear them out, and they're sort of
they're not really much of a challenge in that sense.
No, I did wonder what they'd be like on harder mode, but. It's not really something I'd want to go back just to play and see. I think you can change it on the fly, to be fair.
Yeah, you can. You can move it up and down. I don't know who would need it on very easy.
No, there was I think because of how cinematic the game was, and because he had these like A-listed actors and stuff, I think he thought there was going to be like a new audience of game players that don't play games. So, you know, you get fucking, I don't know, Helen Mirren playing the game or something. Should have to stick it on very easy mode. I don't know how
200 portal rating.
Yeah, I don't know how. It'd be interesting to see how easy that is. You know, do they not attack at all? Is there no BTs? Or?
Yeah, it must be very easy, because on the standard difficulty, it's not much of a challenge in the combat sense. And we talk about boss battles. Yeah, they exist in Death Stranding.
They do,
but I would say. This, for a Kojima game, this is the disappointment for me. Yeah. I don't think they were anywhere near to the level of what I've played in any of the Metal Gear. I don't think any of these ones touch any of the Metal Gear Solid ones, which is odd, because they could have done some really, 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 really interesting stuff with the world they've built and the BTs, all that good stuff. There's all sorts of stuff they could have done, and not saying they didn't do it, but when you actually come to actually try and defeat them, it's it's not really.
They sort of set it up well. It was there, but the execution wasn't executed properly to Kojima's levels. I'm in agreement with you there because, because like you say, look at just games like Metal Gear Solid 3 when that game is just full of epic like boss battles, ones that take ages to play, and you just know. There's
normally a certain strategy that you've got to figure out on the fly and things like that.
Yeah.
Whereas I didn't feel like there was even really much need for a strategy.
No, not in this. It was a lot of them were very samey, weren't they? It was different. Like even with different characters, you'd be like, "Oh, this is a different person, so it must be a different." And it was just the same again, but in a different area. You're like, "Oh, okay." So no, that was another weak point of the game. There was a couple I did like, but overall, I'd say it's not up to Kojima standards as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other mechanics or things or bits and pieces you wanted to mention? I mean, the only thing I wanted to say, if I hadn't said it already, was around just because we've talked about the online aspect, giving you almost the feeling of a community of porters all out there. The interaction that you have with other players isn't forced. It's not, you're not having to deal with other people in their worst ways. You always kind of interact with them on their best terms because it's them using your stuff or you're using their stuff that they've left out.
Yeah.
But it really made me kind of change the way I played. Like very rarely would I ever give up cargo in any game, but in this I was like, you can put stuff in share lockers for people to use.
Yeah.
I built a bridge that I wasn't going to use because I was, going to go north or whatever. And I thought, but I know this has been a pain in the arse for me. I'm going to put a bridge down here.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest takeaway for me is that for all the quirks that are in the game in terms of your roaring around delivering packages and that's the game. This online bit really got into me, I think.
It was. And that was the unique experience because it is nothing like anything I've ever played. You don't get this sort of... this sort of multiplayer sense of camaraderie in any other game that we've played. It is so unique. But I'm agree. I think that probably is the strongest part of the game. Certainly the most rewarding in terms of playing the game. The only thing I was going to mention was a new person coming into this game is a fresh IP. So they're not used to the Kojima standard. Me and you were big fans, so we know this is the Kojima standard. But the word diversity? No, I don't mean diversity. the sort of the half and half of gameplay to cutscenes.
Yeah.
So obviously it's a Kojima game, so there is a fuck ton of cutscenes. Yeah. They're all, perfectly directed, perfectly presented and well acted and everything. But, you're starting off the game and you're probably, for the first couple of hours, you're watching up with it. You're not actually doing much. Do you think that would turn off someone who's new and doesn't have any idea that this is a type of game?
Yeah, absolutely. I can see. I mean, you can skip them. I can see that being the. I mean, in that open. I mean, this is how I'd. Why I kind of land on that. I love the cutscenes because it's such a odd little universe that's been created. It's hard to keep up with it sometimes. That's where I struggle. But I think in the opening part of the game, I was like, bloody, I've fucking hardly done anything here. Yeah. And it was about 3 hours in. I was like, Jesus, is this what it's going to be all the way through? And then they kind of let the reins off for a bit. But then I'd say also sort of first third is okay, reasonably well balanced, apart from like the opening, maybe a bit too much. Yeah. Middle third I thought was fine, like it doesn't get in your way at all. No. Last third, I think they ranked it up a little bit more because obviously it's they're building towards a conclusion. Yeah, and it might drag again for people, but I can see people being put off just by the opening because it felt like I was playing the first hour was like three hour sessions or whatever I did. Yeah. 1 3 hour session, and for 2 hours I was in cutscenes. Yeah, so it felt like
I think that's true or not. Accurate.
It's not like that all the way through, but there are moments where it goes, nope, you're going to be here now for 45 minutes for this moment, and it will put people off. But I won't
spoil the numbers, but I did see the statistics of how many hours there were of cutscenes.
Oh, right.
I was impressed by it, but was also impressed to hear that it wasn't beaten. and Metal Gear Solid 4 still holds the record.
Still holds.
Yeah, I thought this.
Well, that game literally ends with like a 2-hour cutscene.
Yeah,
That's what I remember
that's
with Metal
right.
Gear
Yeah.
Solid 4. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, so it's not in that sense. It's less.
Yeah,
because
there's less, yeah.
I would say it's a bigger game than Metal Gear Solid 4. I'm
Yeah,
using
certainly
memory.
felt like it.
So the ratio is probably slightly less.
Ratio, that's what I meant, not diversity.
No, he's thinking about that racist again. He wants diversity in his games. One thing that people complained about Metal Gear Solid 5 was quiet because she had her tits hanging out all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he thinks women are just objects and whatnot.
It must have been on Twitter, I think, and people were concerned about that. Like a lot of, certainly probably a lot of the feminist gamers out there, they didn't like that sort of thing. And, you know, looking at it now,
lovely.
She should
Lovely,
not be punished for having big boobs, Dutch or otherwise. But yeah, there was talk on Twitter saying like, "Oh God, I'm just dreading
what's he gonna do?
What the female characters are going to look like in here." But yeah, there's not a lot of sex appeal in this game.
No, it completely steers none of that really. Like that's not. I don't think anyone can surface a complaint of that. I don't think anyone could lodge a complaint that there aren't well developed female characters either. Like. I remember one of the quotes from Metal Gear Solid 5 was, "There was like, why has she not got any clothes on all the time?" And he was like, "Well, when you find out the reason why, you'll all hate yourselves because there's a genuine reason why she's got her tits hanging out all the time."
Yeah.
And it was bollocks in the end. You haven't got to worry about any of that. It's everyone's pretty well covered up.
Yeah.
If anything, you can get old Norman to go in the shower. You can see his arse.
Yeah.
It's male arses in this game that he seems to have an obsession with. Lots of that.
Yeah,
you can watch him have a shit. You can watch him have a piss and have a shower.
Piss, yeah, you can literally piss in the middle of... That's another bar you got to watch as well.
See his nipple.
Got your stamina bar, you got your fucking Europe. You start down in them monsters, you got to piss in the open.
Oh yeah, you can take a piss in the game. And what is that? That creates like mushrooms.
Yeah, it's like mushrooms.
Players
and then they get stamina, I think, or I think they get something from interacting with it.
They can pick those bugs up as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it creates
damage health with.
They're supposed to help with Timefall, apparently, but I didn't really see.
I bet there's loads of little mechanics like that.
They didn't even know about it.
Because I don't like reading about stuff like that in case they're like, oh, in the end, and you're like, for fuck's sake. Why has it done that? But I mean, just another little quirk. You can make piss and shit bombs.
Yeah.
So if you didn't think it was a Kojima game,
exactly. This is the thing when you boil it down. Like earlier when we were trying to explain what the game is, when you're going on about, and I think a lot of this sort of game, like you'll listen to, like, what the fuck is this game about? And it is, he's got made up words for all. You got dooms, you got fucking BTs, bridge babies, fucking
Heartman, all these weird
names,
Sam Porter Bridges,
all this shit, and you're like so confused by it. But when you boil it down and you say, "Well, I'm a delivery man that throws piss and shit at people," just a film about a man having a mental breakdown, basically.
Oh dear. Any other thoughts?
I think we've covered most of the bases without getting into spoiler territory. Just I implore people to try this because it is unlike anything else I've ever played. It is different. It is so different to a thing, and I enjoyed it. A lot of people do. I've not seen many that have bought it and turned off it, to be honest. The people that have bought it have all sort of been amazed. They've stuck through with it.
One person I'm interested in, this is someone the audience won't be familiar with, but is Jordan, the man who got back into gaming, I believe, through God of War last year, that you talked him into.
Didn't know the console since the SNES or something like that, I remember him saying, and he was talking to me saying, "Oh, I think I'm going to get a computer," and then... Yeah. Is
that what he calls them, computers?
Yeah, computer. Go get a computer game. I mean, where are you going to get that from? Toys R Us? And, he came back and went through God of War, loved that. Then he went through Red Dead and Horizon, Assassin's Creed. Then he bought a Switch and was playing Cuphead, and I was like, Jesus. And then, I hadn't spoken for him for a little while, and then all of a sudden, pow, he comes up and says, "Oh, what's that Death Stranding game like?" And I thought the same. I was like, well... he's a bit of a biff in terms of like, I could see him playing a game. Like, I don't think he likes Horizon, so he like only played a bit
Right.
of it and binned it. And I thought, see, he's not the type of gamer I would recommend this game to.
No.
An easy binner. Saying that, fucking Biff smashed out Days Gone, so
Well,
maybe he'll
4 out of 10
absolutely
he's
love
happy
this
to get
game.
through, but the 7 out of 10s he won't.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
surprised he got through Star Wars, for fuck's sake.
So when he was done, I was sort of like, can I recommend it? But again, he's picked it up and he's absolutely loving life. But yeah,
Good.
you would not normally. He's not your sort of gamer that you'd think would pick this up. So
It will surprise a few people. There'll be some people that'll just be like, no,
yeah,
it's delivery, Sam Royal Mail, I ain't interested.
wait for 5 hours. I think if you don't get it after 5 hours, or you don't think you're enjoying it as much as you would, I think bin it, because it does get easier and stuff, but I wouldn't say there's like, stick with it and 10 hours down there it's a completely different game.
No,
You pretty much get what you're doing from the go, but it does expand and stuff, so you will be able to. It's not the same thing the whole way through the game, but the main core of the game is a sort of loop that I just found addictive, and I didn't think so. I thought, watching reviews and stuff, and people were saying about how divisive they thought it was going to be, and people. There was one review that gave it like a 4 or a 6 and saying, it's the most boring game I've ever played. So going into it, that sort of, I was like, oh god, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it. I think I might end up bidding it. And it just really resonated, and it's just something. It's almost like cathartic, sort of, euphoric about playing it. Just the chillness and it's just so different to anything else.
Yeah, if you're the type of person that likes, I know some mad people do this, but if you listen to podcasts whilst you play games, you will not find a better candidate in the year 2019 or perhaps this generation, because you could conceivably stick on a podcast that you're happy to listen to and just play this.
Yeah.
And because of the easy nature of it, you ain't really got to worry about getting too stressed out.
Yeah, no. Easy breezing.
You can just chill.
But is there anything else?
He's a chilled out entertainer.
Is there anything else you think that we mentioned from?
Don't think so. No, I mean it's been tricky to
navigate
this.
So I keep thinking to go. Oh well, when you get to no, I don't want to spoil that for people.
Yeah, and I think I'm just glad it exists. Like we've got so many, like the trend of battle royale and games as a service. Like they're fine.
Yeah.
Like it's fine to play Destiny 2 for whatever hours I spent into it.
Yeah.
Like probably about the same as this actually in hindsight. But this was a different kettle of fish altogether. If you're happy just to play something that for better or for worse will be its own thing and won't follow the normal conventions, then give it a whirl. Absolutely give it a whirl, because I'm just glad that games like this still exist in what seemingly feels like an industry where the safe bet is the best bet.
Yeah.
Do the online, we say that, and then you've got the likes of Anthem that are blowing it, so maybe not. But
restart,
that's what people are striving for, because they're all trying to imitate the same loop almost. Yeah. This comes along and says, well, actually, you don't need to be doing that, because you can have fun dropping off the package now and again. And you do meet. I mean, it's a strange game because you interact with other people online, but when you go to each of these habitats or each of these centres or homes or whatever you're doing, the person will come out as a hologram and talk to you, and as you deliver more packages to them, you kind of increase the chiral strength to them. Some people, when you first go there, don't want to join the UCA. They're like, no, not interested. So you might have to do a few deliveries before they come on board and agree to plug in. And the important thing about them plugging in is once they've plugged in, it means that region means you can build structures on there, which you couldn't do before. And then you can also see other people's items and structures that they've left out for you. Yeah. But those characters that you meet in those shelters, if you do a few runs with them and they send you emails and you read the emails, there's actually there's a couple of them that have got really good background stories, like little side stories almost, that you can see to a conclusion if you keep delivering and carrying out the tasks that they ask for. So there's other bits that you can suck you in. Like you could think, I really want to help this guy out here, so I'm going to do all the orders that are leading to his his little dwelling.
Yeah.
And you'll get some satisfaction from that because you'll get a little story, the little email from them saying, "Oh, thanks for helping me" or whatever. And again, you're also rewarded with sometimes unique items for doing this. So there's also a gameplay reason to go out of your way and do it.
And some of that is so rewarding as well. Yeah, you'll be sort of just doing these little side missions, as you're saying. You get something, maybe even something you've already got, but an upgraded version of it, and that really does help sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth just sort of putting in the time, not just to get the chiral network up so that you can put down your ladder. Well, you can put down your ladders anyway, actually. But if you want to build a structure like a bridge, you can then put that down. But also, the main part of that is it opens up and lets you see the online, from the community. So you might not have to put your bridge down. So it might already be there by someone else.
Yeah.
And I think that as well as the main sort of story-based missions, there's some decent side stuff in there.
Yeah.
It's not told in a conventional way, like you're seeing holograms of people chatting to you, and then they might send you an email after, but they change. Their perspective changes, and they may have been really against coming on the chiral network, and then they start seeing benefits from it, and then there's real-life kind of deliveries that you take place. Like there's a chap somewhere who is he's a musician. So what I noticed was, and I was wondering if this was the case, but this was it's quite early in the game, this one, so he's lurking. Every time you deliver something from his dwelling to another place, it's always a musical related thing. It's like you're delivering records to the distribution centre so the people there can listen to old records, or you're delivering an instrument over there. So it keeps in sync with what people's specialties are, and likely what gear they have that other people might need or want. And I found that when I actually put it to the test, I thought actually quite a good level of detail they've put in there is to make sure that whatever you're taking from A to B makes sense. Yeah,
it's not just
in most cases. It's not just two.
Yeah, that's it.
And there is two.
There is two out there that you got to deliver. But no, when you look, especially those little side things, there's some of the stories you get to. They are quite expensive. Like you say, you get these little emails. I haven't sat down and read. I was just going to sort of turn the game on and just have a day of just reading, and just to sort of...
Mate, you'll come back and all your structures will be correct.
Well, that's the thing as well, I haven't played it for about a week now, so I think it probably will. All my leaks, hopefully my likes ain't depleted.
Yes. Right. Closing thoughts. And then the final verdict, which includes the official grading. Take it away.
So, my final thoughts, a big thumbs up for me for Mr. Kojima and his game. And
Fanboy,
a unique.
He's a Kojima mark.
I tried to go in with an open mind. It's difficult with this because people were saying like, "Oh, if it weren't Kojima, would you play it?" And I think, well, you can't really say it because like, if it wasn't Kojima, then you probably wouldn't get these.
You wouldn't get it.
You wouldn't get these actors assigned to it. You wouldn't get this mystery, this level of mystery. If a new director came along and came out with this mysterious game, everyone would go, "Fuck's that shit! I ain't listening to that." They wouldn't have been as bothered and invested. So you
built a portfolio that was popular. So
exactly.
That's leveraged.
That's it. So I tried to go with an open mind as such, and I just got sucked into this world. I think it's the most unique. Certainly for a long time, I can't think of a more unique experience playing. Maybe something like No Man's Sky was the last time that it felt different. Be that as good as it should have been or whatnot. But this is a unique experience. I think every gamer should at least attempt to play this, especially if they're into the sort of narrative-driven games and people that like sort of mystery. If you're looking for a first-person shooter, it's probably not your sort of thing. Fast-paced action, something to chill out and relax and just get sucked into. Big fun.
Help others. Help me. Put some more fucking ladders out for me.
Just experience it.
I'm not finished. I'm 80 hours in. I've still got deliveries to be doing.
Exactly.
Still got people to please. And I need all your structures. So put all your shit down and leave it for me. I'll give you a like.
That's it. Get them likes. So get out and buy it. No, positive for me.
And then what's the official grading for Death Stranding?
So I don't know if you're going to agree with this. So I'm between two scores. I'm personally going to give it a 9 out of 10. I was thinking you might have gone 8, but...
No, I was
You know,
Objectively, I say 8.
Yeah.
But personally, I'd
exactly.
call it a 9.
Yeah, and that's the same. Yeah, objective. I'd agree with that. If we were doing halves, I'd probably go 8.5. But
Who knows? Next year there may be opportunities
exactly.
for that.
But I'm going to go with 9, just because, same as you, how addictive the gameplay loop was, and how much you just wanted to keep playing, and then how rewarding the online mechanics were, and the building, the structure making, the leaving for others, the little replies you get from the likes, just that innovative gameplay loop. It sucked me right in. And then on top of that, I thought was a good story, a fucking mental and confusing at times, and a long story, but I feel as a whole package, the game is brilliant. It falls short of its masterpiece seal of approval, but a very good game that I implore people to play. Gets a 9 out of 10 from me.
Well, there you go. How can you argue with that? Because what we do now is I actually will read off a couple of recaps from reviewers and give you the scores just to get your thoughts on it.
I haven't review for a while, have I?
No, I don't think so. We're way into early retirement.
Wrapped it all up.
But so what was I going to say? But before that, there's one question I did want to ask. You've played Death Stranding.
Yeah.
We've played Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah.
It ain't finished. Could have been a Metal Gear Solid 6 to complete the Solid Snake saga properly. Big boss. All that stuff. Could have really come full circle if he'd... Maybe not in 5, but one more game that had got there, I think. Would you, now that you've played Death Stranding, rather scrap it and let Kojima go back, do Metal Gear Solid 6 on the promise that it will link properly back to either Metal Gear or Metal Gear Solid? Or do you keep Death Stranding and just say, look, I'm drawing a line under Metal Gear Solid 5, it is what it is, and I'm just going to have to walk away from it? Maybe that'll get your fucking balls.
Does it mean we'd have to go back to Konami and therefore wouldn't have the restraints, or were you thinking he'd buy
Sony
the rights?
Buy Konami, Sony buy Metal Gear Solid franchise. Well, actually, because that's going to be too... He has to go out to Konami.
Right,
okay. They will still publish it. It doesn't mean that it's all going to crumble down.
Right.
Because I knew if I said Sony buy it, they'll make sure it's good.
Yeah.
But the Konami will still be there. It won't be... It'll be more finished than Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they won't have other middling.
It's a hard one, because I love that world so much, and I want to see it go full circle.
Hey, you got Sam Porter Bridges
Exactly,
to worry about
I
now.
do think that this is it's been a great move for him. I think, the freedom. I think it has paid off. You know, as much as you was worried that he was going to go batshit crazy and fucking throwing poo at people, and that's his game. So it's a weird trade-off, but I'd give everything for a Metal Gear Solid 6. I have to say,
a real Death Stranding. He's killed it.
Yeah. What would you prefer, a new IP or maybe a sequel or whatever could be relating or continue this world? Maybe a spin-off where it's another completely set of characters.
I would.
What do you prefer?
If I get to keep Death Stranding now, I've played it, and I get to keep that, I'd say leave it. I'm happy for it just to be left as it is. Don't open up any more jars. That's how we get Metal Gear Solid roaring around.
Standalone Joker, even though he's raking in the big butts, reaping the rewards. Fucking leave it alone. Leave it as that solo.
Yeah, leave it alone. But the one thing I would maybe give everything up for is Metal Gear Solid remade in the same way that Resident Evil 2 was. Like, same setting, same ideas, modern gameplay with all the stuff that you can do now, but that story or whatever, that David Hayter back, everyone back, and that's what I'd...
What if they did it without Kojima's approval? That they sort of did with... I don't know if he had any involvement. I don't think he did. With that Twin Snakes, they sort of changed.
No, I think he went, He
said you could do that. I don't want nothing to do with it, but you've got my blessing.
Yeah. At least it had nothing to do with Metal Gear Survive.
Blue Point are working on something big, apparently, aren't they? And it's been rumoured to be Metal Gear. A lot of people think it's going to be Demon Souls.
Yeah, I can see
Or,
it because
I really fucking hope it ain't. But they reckon it could be like an Is it Ico, that one we played? That
that
remaster.
don't need doing. No, I would. Metal Gear would be the one thing that makes me think it would never happen is Konami.
Yeah.
So that's just immediately hurts that sort of theory. And then B, I imagine they would want it to be a multi-platform game, being Konami.
Yeah.
And Bluepoint are Sony.
That's true. Yeah.
So I've got a feeling they might get fucking blown away. I don't hold my breath for that happening.
No.
If it's Capcom, after what they've done with Resident Evil 2,
Dish that.
Wow.
Yeah, that was an impressive one. And even playing
Capcom, just fucking buy it off them.
Yeah.
Or even get Kojima as a contractor.
Final Fantasy. That's 7.
Yeah.
I think that's another one.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And go core. Give it to Square. Let them at
Even
it.
Square are doing it.
So
I thought Square would blow that, but they've seemed to have done a really good job with it. So,
I've only played a 20-minute demo, so it could be a blower, but I was certainly impressed, and I think the general consensus is impressed. But
yeah, that's what I want. I want a Final Fantasy 7 and a Resident Evil 2 with Metal Gear Solid. What's that?
Final Fantasy 7 and MGS. Was it 99, both of them?
Oh, I don't know, actually.
Gear Solid. When was Metal Gear? Gosh, I should know this. This is terrible. I saw a fucking badass t-shirt I was going to buy. 98 was
98.
Metal Gear Solid.
Because 98 was Half-Life as well.
Oh, no,
and I think it might have been Ocarina of Time.
Oh.
A real trio of
fucking
blowers.
Yeah. Blower of shit. And then, 99 episode FF7. So, fucking hell. Get it made, 2020. But keep it going. Be interesting to see what he does. I'd be interested to see what the PC community think of it, because it looks
they'll shit on it.
Yeah, they probably will. They'll be like,
they'll mod the fuck out of it and then shit.
Yeah. I think it would be a fucking brilliant game to mod.
Oh yeah, If it's open,
and how open it is, they'll be able to make it piss easy. Cool, you'll be able to get like a fucking tank or something in it. But yeah, it looks gorgeous on PS4, so God knows what it'll look like on them monster rigs.
Yeah, with them frames, it'll be even.
Yeah, Sam will be going, I knew I should have waited.
Did he actually get it on PS4?
I don't think he did. But he's bought Star Wars, and he buckled on.
He bought Star Wars, yeah.
I don't know if he's bought Pokemon or not, but do not buy those two. Well, actually, do buy Star Wars. Don't buy Pokemon.
Yeah.
Buy.
Have you got it?
No, I haven't. No, I chucked it in the bin.
Someone must have bought it in the gym.
Yeah. Did Paul said he was going to? I think
Paul buys everything on Nintendo and never plays them.
I thought did someone didn't they? Chappers maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. If there is, we'll get them on. But if they're not,
yeah. No, I got because of it came out the same day as Star Wars, and thought Death Stranding was going to be a long one. I ended up. Normally, I don't pummel through these games that quick as well. Death Stranding, I'm still plucking away at. I do have intentions of going back, but that's a sort of.
Do you know how many hours you put into Death Stranding?
About 15, I think. So I'm nowhere near really.
No. Death Stranding, not Star Wars.
Death Stranding, sorry.
It's completely Death Stranding. 15 hours.
God, I sped run it. Death Stranding, I think I was just about 60 in the end.
Right.
So I didn't do. I did I played through probably the first sort of 10 to 15 hours sort of openly, and then I was getting scared of spoilers, so I wanted to. I kept Googling stuff and I kept watching videos. And then I recommended ones would come up saying the end boss, and I was thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm gonna end up bloody seeing something here. So I just thought, right, I'm gonna bomb it. So not breaknecked it, but I just mainly stuck to the main quests and done a few that were on the way to where I was going.
Do you know what? When I was playing this game, I really did not mainline it.
No, I remember you saying, I remember you playing for sort of 20, 30 hours and stuff. I was like, it must be on episode 8 or whatever now. And then looking, you were still on 3. And I was like, cool, he's loving life there.
Yeah, I just didn't have I don't know whether it's because I weren't. I don't know. I felt like because the narrative obviously is go off and connect everyone, that I was doing that anyway, but just not the main areas that they wanted me to. I was helping the smaller guys out, and building my roads and whatnot. But I was never. I don't know if this is. I don't know what this says, but I was never frightened or of spoilers for some
Right.
reason. I just never, not once did I think. I just felt like it because it's so deep and complicated. There's not going to be one thumbnail
No.
that I'm going to have to look at, or one headline that's going to give it away for me.
Oh no! Well, not only that, I'm also in a group chat on WhatsApp with a couple of my other friends, and one of them is a fucking spoiler merchant. So, and he was further than me, so there was that breathing down my neck. So that's why I wanted to get it done. But to be fair, not many games. Once I have finished the story, I do tend to. I'll sort of put that down and move on, and then maybe go back and have a little pluck at it another time. But with this, I found I finished the story and was like, right, that's it, that's done. I can go back to Star Wars. I even had the day off the next day because I'd intended to complete it on the Friday, but ended up finishing it on the Thursday night. So I had the full Friday, and I was like, right, okay, well, I've completed that. I'll go to Star Wars. And then when I woke up in the morning, I thought, I've really enjoyed that game, fucking good. I'll just put it in and just see what it's like now. I've finished it, and then ended up playing that all day. I spent another I think I played that for about 6 hours that day, and just stuck another thing after the story was done. And I was sort of almost catching up with what I'd missed from where I was, essentially breaknecking it just to get to the end. I wanted to, because I really enjoyed the story, and that's what I wanted to get to the conclusion, just to know. And then I thought, once I've done that, then I can go back and finish off what you can just carry on doing and enjoying that loop and enjoying the Death Stranding.
Absolutely. Let's read out some of these reviews then.
Oh yeah.
IGN.
Cool.
Tristan O'Gilvy.
Really?
Right, Gilvy?
Yeah.
Never heard
of him.
Death Stranding delivers a fascinating world of supernatural sci-fi, but its gameplay struggles to support its weight. 6.8 out of 10.
Oh, he wouldn't get it. He's an American.
I saw Kojima say that.
That is something Kojima did say after getting... I mean, it's not a bad Metacritic. I think it was like 85, 86, I think.
It's on OpenCritic, it's 83.
83.
It's the same as Star Wars now.
So that's like, if I was a game maker and that's what my game got, I'd be pretty happy with that. I'd say that's decent, But people want the 90s, don't they, now? And his response was he thought the reason why Americans didn't get it is because they want these first-person shooters, and he said they don't. Was it almost like he said they didn't have the intellect of a European person?
Almost, yeah. And I'm not going to disagree with that. If any of our American listeners, please correct us, but we'll take Kojima's word for it.
Exactly. So you just won't get it. You're not intelligent enough to understand it. But no, I thought that it was. And reading that review, I have read it, and it again, I think it's because they got that game early and they rushed through it. And it just seems like they didn't play how it was intended. They sort of brushed through it. The reviewer obviously hated the gameplay. I just don't think he gave it a good review because he didn't. I don't know. He just seemed like he was sort of against it from the get go. I think he thought it was too pretentious and stuff. But no, I don't agree with that. 6.8 is.
The Metro, your favourite.
The Metro boys. What did they give it?
A work of unbridled ambition and imagination, but also a pretentious, contrived, and frequently dull gameplay experience. Death Stranding is peak Hideo Kojima. 7 out of 10.
7? Well, that's better. I thought it was going to be worse for that. So yeah, I think it's definitely going to be divisive. You're going to get people that ain't going to like this game. It tends to be this gameplay, then that people don't like it. And I thought it was stronger than I thought it was going to be. But
it's funny because IGN Italy gave it a 9.8.
I don't get that. They said
European,
and Spain as well. I think gave it a 9.
Not got the intellect.
Japan gave it a 10. I think IGN Japan gave it a 10.
Me.
So yeah,
I think Famitsu gave it 10 out of 10, like perfect, because they did like 4 reviewers.
That's right.
I mean, that's come on. But yeah, GameSpot.
Yep.
Here we go. Death Stranding is a dense, complex, and powerfully steadfast in its belief in the power of love and hope when facing overwhelming adversity. Bollocks, but 9 out of 10.
Who done that? Was that Callie?
Callie Plagg.
I normally don't like her review. She's a slag, but but she's got it bang on there. The old Callie girl. She's in my good books. Agreed.
Oh dear. We're gonna.
What about Easy?
We're gonna do IGN Italy. We're gonna do IGN Italy and leave it on a positive note. 9.8 out of 10.
Cool.
Death Stranding is a one-of-a-kind experience that will stick with you for years to come.
Yeah. Fuck.
And that's what happens when us Europeans.
There we
get
go.
around,
The intellect. We know what the understanding is. We don't want the first-person shooters. We don't want the cheeseburgers.
We don't want this fucking battle royale games and service bollocks everywhere. This is a fucking punch in the nose to that. And if you don't like it either, have a go at it and then complain afterwards and say you've wasted my money. And I go, well, have I?
What did that, just out of interest, show what the Easy A boys gave?
8 out of 10.
8. Solid.
Yeah.
Solid. I'd probably go 8.5 if I was a reviewer, so if you could. We're going to give it 9 though, because, it deserves it, I think, for being out there.
So it doesn't matter what we do. Did the reviews came out a week before the game came out?
Yeah, very.
It was a week, wasn't it? Pretty much bang on.
What's the word? Oh, I'm shit at words today.
Well, stim
Well, it is. It's that fucking chiral network working through the brain. It's going to come to me in a minute. No, forget it.
We've got all night. No, forget it. Did that paint a positive or a negative spin when you went in? I think, by the sound of things, it painted a bit of a negative spin because it wasn't the 90s. It was still like, people were like, oh, shit.
Well, that's the thing. All the reviews I kept reading was this gameplay, this dull gameplay, boring gameplay. You
hate fetch quests.
I know. And this is Fetch Quest Simulator. I remember, was it Salmon who put that? He saw like a headline from a thing and it was like a Fetch Quest Simulator, and he said about you should just play WoW. And at that I was thinking, I'm going to fucking hate this game. And it is a Fetch Quest Simulator. You literally are fetching the whole game.
Yeah, sometimes you don't even get given the cargo. You have to go and fetch it, then fucking bring the gun back. That's sometimes not what you have to do.
But I did not feel like a Fetch Quest game. This did not feel like a drone. People were saying this was a grind. I didn't feel that it was a grind at all, No,
I mean, you could make it. I've made it a grind, but I was enjoying it, like building those roads. If that's not a grind, I don't know what else is. But I was enjoying doing that. I was enjoying getting in my lorry, collecting all the metals, all the somatic or whatever the other material is, getting thousands of that, driving, dropping it off, building it, and then getting to the next point. And it was
a day's work. It's like, I think, did I say this to you? I said it's like having a day job but being paid in cutscenes. That's what it felt like.
That is typically a Kojima landmark in the later games. Because Metal Gear Solid 5 was a big game.
That was. Yeah, compared to the others, they weren't huge games, but that was a lengthy one. So he's obviously going that. Fucking next game's going to be fucking 120 hours long, isn't it?
Not what's required.
No.
Right, we'll close it. If people are still here, it's nearly 2 hours. Anthem got 2 hours, but I was pissed up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pissed up tonight.
Come back for the 2 hour spoiler cast.
Well, there is a lot that can be said into that. I mean, it has potential.
There, if the fans want it, give us the like.
They'll get it. Well, give us the likes in-game and also on YouTube. Well, if you listen to this on YouTube, I don't understand you, but if you are, bless you. But it's these podcast apps that you want to be going on because it's audio only.
It's where the numbers are. Yeah, you're just looking at a fucking picture.
Yeah. Although with YouTube Premium, you don't have to have the win. You can just shut your phone to like sleep mode and listen still. Yeah, so you can almost use it like a podcast.
I didn't know that. I just thought we got rid of adverts and then you could watch all that other bollocks.
It does get rid of the adverts as well.
Oh, that's something that's always been requested, that being able to look on something else while I say.
Yeah, put it on a paywall, the bastards.
They knew that, didn't they? They ain't silly.
They did. If you're on that, as we say, bless you, but the app is where it's at as far as I'm concerned. Player FM, or a new one that I've got, because it allows you access to premium podcasts that you have to authenticate. So if you're a member of something, Podcast Addict.
Ooh, there you go.
So if you're a member of
Them drugs again.
a subscription-based service or something like that has has VIP podcasts, you can use that app for that. You can't do that on many other apps. So
beautiful.
there you go. $3.50 though, so that's what you have to pay for. Although got Steelbook sitting here, got Stadia sitting here that ain't going to get played, so I might as well waste more money. Got the old London little figure as well on its way.
Oh, have you? That's
coming.
one thing I massively regret on this game. I wish I would have fucking bought that collector's edition with the BB. There was a geezer, a tattooist, selling one on Instagram the other day, but I would assume he probably would have. He was in America, so it would have been a bastard to get it over here. But it's completely sold out in the UK. But
oh yeah, it was gone pretty early.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
I think I thought, oh, you know what? I might just pre-order that, and then if I don't want it, I'll bin it. And then I went to do it, and it was already gone. I was like, well, I'll get the Steelbook.
But that fucking BB would have been lovely. So it would have freaked everyone out when they walked in the room.
How big's the fucker?
It's like it's probably
BB.
about life size. So it's what do you compare it to? Like a small child, yeah.
in a box, in a container, is what have we described it as.
It's probably taller than the PS4 standing up, I reckon.
Yeah.
And it glows up. I don't think it's got sound, but
I doubt it's got the water in it either.
No, I bet fucking leaking all over the show.
Staining all the carpets.
Yeah. But no, I fucking wish I'd have got that now.
Yeah, well, it was expensive. From what I remember.
It's like in 250 quid, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think let's have a look and see if it's on eBay. Might be still on there.
Have a little look. I bet it's selling for quite a bit, to be honest. They always seem to. Yeah.
Because you bought the Steelbook, the Muddy.
The Muddy Steelbook.
Sealed, brand new and sealed, 275.
£100 markup.
£100 markup. So that's all 290, 270.
245.
Oh yeah, 245 UK PAL. Get that one. I don't like when they have the thing because he's got a damaged box. So that one I wouldn't like that. But
well, to be honest, I've bought a few collector's things, and the box. Well, I end up throwing them away now because they take up too much room.
That's the trouble, isn't it?
259 from Slovenia.
Oh yeah,
we've talked about
how many copies of the game
of the continental Europeans and the Slovenians selling. He's got hundreds of them.
Fucking billions of the bastards. Cool. Look at that fucking. Oh, you get that tape to put over it as well. The void if tampered.
Yeah.
You get that, a little Ludens figure, the baby, and a briefcase that looks like the one in the game. So you could even make your own. That's what I can't wait for. The next fucking cosplay. People cosplaying Sam with all the boxes.
Someone will actually bring their real child in a BB. I'm putting money on it. Some nutcase will make a BB canister and put their real child in there.
Put it in.
I'm saying that now, and there'll be uproars, rightly or wrongly. I don't know. Do what you got to do.
That's it.
Could have got the old limited edition PlayStation 4 Pro.
Yeah, with a piss yellow controller
on it. Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah, I didn't mind that, to be honest. Yeah, I'd like that. Yeah, I remember thinking the Monster Hunter one was really good, but I did quite like this one. But with them new consoles coming, I think that's the last thing I'll be buying is these special editions.
Mate, you got access to Stadia now.
Oh yeah, to stream the bastard. I suppose this would be quite a good game to stream because you could just.
To be fair, yeah, it's one of those. It's a candidate for it because it's not relying on sort of fast-paced Twitch skills.
No.
So
just sat there when you're having a shit, you could do a couple of parcels on your phone.
Yeah. Oh, don't tempt me with that.
Got a fucking Herman hanging out, and you can just go right off to the chiral network.
What if PlayStation do a strip?
What about that remote play? How's that work? I started when I was fucking about with that Xbox. Was it XCloud the other day? I tried the old. What's the Steam one? Big Picture or Steam Link? That's it. That one. That Steam, fucking worked like piss as well. I was trying to play Doom, and it's like it just pixelate. But it's annoying because you had to have my PC on. And then it was like on my PC, so it looked fantastic on my PC, which is just the other side of the room. And then I had this
on the
pixelated mess on my fucking plasma tube. So it wasn't ideal, but that's another conversation. Them old streaming, but yeah, I think this could work as a streaming game. Get it on that fucking Switch as well. Be a little handheld bastard.
Oh, I'd have to get it again.
Yeah, that'd be good for Switch as well, wouldn't it? Just probably look like shit, but it could definitely do it.
Get it going.
And he's Japanese, so
Well, that's the way it works. If PC are getting it, they might as well get it out everywhere.
Yeah, fucking give it. I'm surprised Box got
Engine.
it as well after Metal Gear went over. But
He's a
they're exclusive.
Well, we'll find out. We'll get there. Decima Engine, just before we go, Killzone Shadowfall, use that.
Yeah, I started that
Until
just before,
Dawn.
about a week before this came out. I started playing Killzone.
Bloody
terrible,
hell.
but the engine still holds up. Lovely, gorgeous engine.
Yeah. Until Dawn.
Oh, was that
really
Decima,
good?
was it?
Yeah. Until Dawn, Rush of Blood.
Is that
was alright.
Yeah.
Riggs. We're playing
cool,
that. The old gut churner. Horizon Zero Dawn and now Death Stranding.
Cool.
Better than this Frostbite.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get.
It is fucking gorgeous, and the mocap, that's where it's at. And he gets the camera right in their fucking. There's even you can see like I think it might even be Normal Serena's got like a spot, and I was like, cool, they've even left that in. Could have just fucking airbrushed that out, but no.
No, left that spot in. Dirty, great big white head.
Oh, fucker.
Right, we'll close it down. Thanks for joining us, and everyone else, thanks very much for your time. And
Bam, 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 bam.